Let's go ahead and try that. Thumbs up, you can hear me, please. Perfect. Ryan, you got me, sir? You got me now? Check, check. Okay, perfect. Let's get our windows up, gentlemen. Driver passenger side. Reach over, get your climate control set nice and comfortable. And let's get in the right frame of mind to hit the track, okay? Remember, 100% of concentration, 100% of the time out there. Now, gentlemen, this is going to be our final track session. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring down my commentary quite a bit. Let you guys enjoy these beautiful cars out there on that beautiful track. Kind of put to test what we've been teaching over the last couple days. All right, obviously, if I notice anything or some reminders, some helpers as we come around, I'm going to do so. But for the most part, let's head out there, gradually build into some pace, and let's go have some fun. All right, remember, smooth is fast. Let's keep things under control, make sure we're hitting our driving lines and all of our marks out there. Let's go ahead and go put on the brake up on the drive tab. Let's hit the M for manual, and go ahead and follow me out to the track here, gentlemen. Alright, gentlemen, so just like all of our other sessions, we'll start this session with the sight lap. Just getting reacclimated with the driving line. Again, focus on placing your tires where I place mine as we come around the track on that driving line. And then once we come back around through turn number 7, we'll start to pick up the pace. Okay, just a reminder, when you're directly behind me, go ahead and drive to your ability. Alright, I'll be in charge of maintaining that gap. You're number 2, number 3 in order. Let's always give that student car ahead of us about 6-7 car lengths. Alright, you always want to have an exit route. To mention, if we're too close to the car ahead of us, it's kind of hard to see our visual cues, those cones we're looking for, or those reminders of kind of where we're placing the car. Again, try not to target fixate or stare at any one of those cones. They're just reference points, so keep your vision open. Look through the corners far ahead of us, see where the track's going. Alright, go ahead and stay with me. We're going to pull right out on the track here. And let's build up some pace. We'll go 4th gear here, always holding the left lane as we enter on, and then we're going to brake at the brake cone. Alright, we'll downshift 3rd gear, start to ease off the brakes. And again, look right early, find that apex. That way you have a better idea of kind of when and how much to steer down and get on the curb. Tight to it. Alright, we'll get back over to the right, upshift 4th gear. We're going to brake at the apex. Alright, just off the curb with the white near apex, and then just kind of coasting here. We got to make sure we can hold right just a little bit, and that'll allow these 2 cones here to straighten out, apex to apex, curb to curb. Alright, use up as much of the curb as you can, keep it straight. We'll brake straight, 3rd gear, in middle lane, use some of the banking and that driver's side window to find your apex. And straight up and over to the launch pad there, we're 4th gear. We're going to trust ourselves, stay on it as we get to the left. Alright, we're going to brake at the first curve that's sticking out, and then release slow, kind of trail off or bounce to the right on the curb for both apexes, and then we'll accelerate, open up the radius. We'll touch a brake, third gear. Image going to get some weight on the nose. Wait for that rotation to happen before unwinding and accelerating out towards the left. Alright, fourth gear. Remember, use some of that curve on the left there, Ryan. That way it's easier for us to get through the kink. It's not so sharp. Alright, light brake pressure. We'll get back over to the left. Point towards the blue turning cone. We can accelerate for a moment. Then brake, downshift third gear. Notice my brake lights as we get to the inside. Alright, just releasing, balancing as we're coming downhill there. Alright, let's go ahead and pick it up here, Ryan. Alright, fourth gear, let's brake at the brake cone. Get firm pressure initially, third gear, and then release slow as we bounce to that first apex. Yeah, there you go, coast. Let's make sure we're on the curve for 1B, and roll back to the throttle. Alright, we got some room on the exit, so eyes up, look to where we're going. Fourth gear upshift. Alright, a little firmer on the brakes here. Releasing slow, again looking right. Coast. A little bit early on the turn in. If you notice, you got on that curving before the orange apex, so that means we probably turned in before the blue turning cone. Alright. Again, you notice my car ahead of you and you're looking at it, you're going to see my car turn through the corner. And if your eyes or your hands follow your eyes, you're going to be turned in a little bit too early. So remember, just look around me. Feel those visual cues. We want the car rotating or turning in at the blue turning cone. Trust yourself here as we get back to the left. Then we'll brake nice and straight. Ease off the brakes to the right. We'll coast for a moment, get pointed, and then we can accelerate all the way out to that blue turning cone. There you go. Yeah, use that curve on the left. Again, it's a little easier to get through that kink. Alright, light pressure, smooth as we get to the left. We're looking good. Let's build on this here. Look to the inside. Lots of room on the exit. We get out to the left. Accelerate. Keep it up back there. Israel, Barry. Looking good, gentlemen. Remember, look far ahead. Work on that power. And then Israel, looks like you're entering turn 7 back there from the right-hand side. So remember, we're always setting up wide. Alright, so if we're making a right-hand turn, we want to be all the way to the left. Alright, making that turn kind of as wide as possible. Again, less steering, kind of more pace through the corner that way. That's looking a lot better through there, Ryan. Keep it up. Fourth gear, brake at the apex. Slowly releasing, coasting, and then rolling the throttle as we go straight through. Looking good through there. We're middle lane through the bowl there, Israel. Look left. Same with you there, Barry. Brake firm here, Ryan. We're going to release slow. Coast for a moment. Good. Now some throttle. Brake, downshift, and then be patient. Now back to the throttle. Good. Out to the left. Nice and easy as we come through here. We're going to need some brake pressure. Releasing slow. Yeah, looking good, man. Nice job on that lap. Let's bring it down. We're just going to gather up the group. We got to give ourselves some space between us and the other group. So stay with me. We're all keeping the same order here, gentlemen. So, Israel, you're good to just fall in line behind Ryan, and Barry's in the rear still. One more lap before we're doing our rotation. And again, Israel, just remember that last corner that we just came through. That's turn 7, all right? We want to be all the way out to the left. Remember, set up on the blue turn and go. Tight to it. That way we can get through the corner a little faster. Alright, gentlemen, just go ahead and sit tight. We're going to give ourselves a little bit of room from the other group here before we head back out. Again, we got one more lap to go, and we'll be doing our first rotation next time through the rotation zone here. Let's go ahead and do this for now. Go ahead and put on the brake into park. Alright, once we start getting the brakes hot, we don't want to be sitting on the brakes. So just into park here. We'll give ourselves just a little bit of time to get some space, and we'll head back out. Alright, we're looking good. Again, always focusing on that driving line. That way the speed comes a little bit easier. Smooth is fast, alright? So start working on kind of being a step ahead and linking these steps together nice and smooth. Alrighty, let's go foot on the brake, up on the drive tab. We're back into manual mode here. And we're going to start rolling out to the left. Again, everybody, we're keeping the same order here. So still Ryan, Israel, and Barry bringing up the rear. Alright, let's go third gear and start to pick it up on the exit of turn 2 here, Ryan. Prioritize getting on the curb here, 1B. We get a straighter shot through turn 2. Use up the room. Let's pick it up. Third gear, look right. That's looking better. Nice and tight on the curb. Alright, maybe slow down your hands a little bit. The turn-in looks like our timing was right, turning at the blue turning cone, but maybe a little too quick with the hands. Slow that down just a touch. Touch a brake, get the downshift, and then be patient to point out. Use up the curb here, hold left. Alright, nice job there, Ryan. Looking good, man. Good corrections in turn 3, alright? A couple times again, we're just getting on the curb before the apex. So, remember, only on the curb at the apex. Right there at that orange cone. Alright, let's get over to the right and we'll gather up here for a moment. So just go ahead and fall in line for now, Israel and Barry. We'll make sure we're all in line and then I'll head right back out. Alright gentlemen, let's do that rotation. Over to the left for me here, Israel, Barry. And Ryan, you're in the rear, sir, behind the gray car there. Alright, third gear here, Israel. Let's pick it up on the exit. Alright, let's really focus on the driving line. We got a couple corners we got to fix a little bit. And we're tight to the apex. Let's go ahead and pick it up. Eyes up. We're going to stay on it here to the brake cone. And firm pressure. And notice my brake lights. Little less, even as I turn, and then I'm going to coast. Make sure I can get on the curb before I'm ever back to the throttle. There you go, a little wide from the apex. Not bad, right? Work on using a little more of the curb there, tight to that orange cone. Just brake, release slow. You know, we're just kind of coasting. We got to get right before we start accelerating. And then that way we can just build on the throttle all the way to full. If we're straight enough, using up all the curb. Third gear, middle lane. We're using the brake. There you go, it's looking good. Let's go fourth gear. Trust yourself here as we get to the left. Here's that first curve. We're going to brake firm, release slow, kind of coast for a moment to get the rest of our rotation, and then accelerate. Brake, downshift, and we're just kind of consecutively adding some steering there. And look through that corner early to find that apex. Out to the left. Shift fourth gear. Now really follow me here, alright? We're going to get this line down. Light brakes. I'm going to release slow, and then notice we're getting all the way over to the left here. I'm holding left because we're about to go to the right. So I'm going to brake, downshift. There's a blue turning cone. I'll steer down to the exit. There you go. Perfect. Alright, we need to make sure we're doing that nice and consistent kind of each time, giving us the best line possible there. Brake, downshift, balance to the first apex, and then coast. Maybe a little wide from that apex, alright? Remember, work on that brake pressure and that release. That's how we're going to feel comfortable enough to turn in at that blue turning cone. little tighter, a little tighter. There you go. Good. Roll back to the throttle, upshift fourth gear. Let's brake at the apex. A little slower roll here as we get to the right, and then we roll back to the throttle or squeeze on that throttle. Or brake straight as we come into the hole. Alright, we need to go out to the right, which is straight, right up to the middle, look left, find it out of our driver's side window. Fourth gear. Looking good back there, Barry, Ryan. Keep it up, gentlemen. We'll trail off to the right here, Israel. Go. Yeah, use some of that curb on the left. Again, that just gives us another foot or so. More room to work with. Don't forget, over to the left here. Let's hit it at pace. Keep that line down. Look right. Gotta get to the inside early. Lead off slow all the way to the first apex. Then we can coast. There it is, much better through there. Great job. Long straight away here. Trust yourself all the way to the brake cone, then we'll brake firm. Yeah, that's looking a lot better. Way to keep that up through turn 3. Yourself. Again, we'll brake firm, kind of curb to curb, and then release slow as we bounce to the right. Need that front end grip to be able to get to the right and on the curb for both those apexes. Don't forget to use the curb on the exit here, Israel. Alright, nice job there, Israel. Good corrections here, especially in turn 7, alright? Keep this one up. If you see that black patch I'm running through, that's a good visual cue to kind of know where to place the tires, alright? Remember, it's for your left side tires. Let's all go ahead and pull over to the right. Again, we're going to gather up, give ourselves some space, so everyone just stay in order. We'll do our final rotation here as we head back out. Again, looking a lot better here, gentlemen. Let's keep it up. Alright, gentlemen, so as we head back out here, we're going to go ahead and do our next rotation. So I'll go ahead and get Barry over to the left here in just a moment, and then I'll have Ryan and Israel. So you're going to bring up the rear behind the blue car there. Alright, gentlemen, let's go ahead and start to make that rotation. So Barry over to the left, sir, Ryan, and then Israel, you're going to bring up the rear behind the blue car. Alright, let's go third gear here, Barry. We're going to pick it up on the exit of turn number 2 here. Alright, prioritize getting on the curb, then we just kind of coast, make sure we can get back on the curb in 1B, and then we'll unwind and accelerate here. Let's go ahead and pick back up some pace. Eyes up here, all the way to the top, turn 3. Nice and firm on the brakes. Third gear downshift, lead off slow as we look right. There you go. Good patience on getting that a little bit tighter at the end, alright? Fourth gear, might have overslowed a little bit, so next time try to release those brakes a little bit sooner. Still smooth, but a little bit quicker, a little bit sooner off of them. Trust yourself to carry a little bit bit more speed as long as we're setting the weight or the balance up. Alright, middle lane, let's look left. A little bit too hot over to the left there, alright. Just get out to the left, brake, third gear, and then back to the throttle. Remember, just some light pressure here, we're smooth on the steering. Once we turn, we can accelerate, brake firm, bounce down to the inside. Looking good. Let's pick it up just a touch, alright? Remember, keep the curve. Bounce to the first apex, coast, and then let's start getting our eyes up to where we're going. Back over to the right, brake at the apex. Remember, slower release here, so we need the front end grip. Patient off the top. Curve here, let's give it some firm pressure. Yeah, looking good. Might have been a little early down to that apex. If you notice, it kind of wanted to push you a little wide there. We had to use up all that curving while we're still rotating, so patient there. Remember, look through that corner, give you a better idea of kind of what the line looks like. Let's go ahead and gather up the group here for just a moment. Everybody stay with me. Make sure we're all together, and then we're just going to be rolling right back out here, so. Everybody together. So Israel, it looks like that time as we come through turn 7, we're still entering from the right-hand side. Remember, if you're driving straight towards that orange cone or the apex, you're making that turn really tight, like a 90-degree turn. Make sure you're always setting up on the left towards the blue turning cone before you're steering down to the apex, and give yourself a little bit more room to work with. Let's go ahead and head back out. Everybody keep the same order. Let's build back up some pace. Third gear. Pick it up here, all the way out to the right. Slow and coast. Good. Roll back to the throttle. Stay on it here. We're going to get fourth gear. Brake at the apex. Bounce as we get to the right. And roll back on straight through. So remember, try not to go out to the right there, Barry. As we come into the bowl, we want to go straight into the bowl, alright? If you notice there's that white near apex going on that inside curving, remember, we want to be close to that. So all the way over to the right, it's a little far. Brake firm here, release slow. Pressure here. We're prioritized getting turned, rotated, then we can accelerate. Light pressure, and then we just bleed off as we steer down. Yeah, a lot better. Don't forget, Israel, you're coming into turn 7. Set up on the left-hand side. to it. Good. It's coming in maybe a little bit hot. Remember, even though we're releasing the brakes, it's got to be smooth. And if we don't get firm enough initially, we're going to find ourselves pushing a little bit wide like that. Remember, as we come into the bowl, let's brake straight here, baby. There you go. Gentlemen, great job. Let's go ahead and bring down our pace. We're going to start our cool down lap here. Everybody to the left lane, let's go 4th gear, and we're going to cool down the cars here. Alright, again, let's continue to drive the driving line. Israel's go ahead and fall in line, and stay with me, gentlemen. 4th gear, let's go ahead and cool the cars off. Great session. Alright, we made some good adjustments still. And our pace is getting a lot better. Alright, a lot more consistent. Once we're kind of making those adjustments, we're doing better on recognizing when we're in the wrong spot. Kind of how to fix that. Alright, so great job. Heck of a lot better than what we showed up yesterday. So pat yourself on the back, okay? We're going to continue to cool the cars off here, and then we're going to be heading back towards the building. We're going to have a quick class. Basically just a video we're going to watch for a moment, kind of a little bit of a break, and then we're going to get into our autocross semifinals, and then the finals, as well as some hot laps, where we're going to be taking you guys around the track again. So everybody just stay with me, keep those PDRs or videos recording, and next time through the back stretch there, we'll be exiting the track and heading back towards the building. Alright, gentlemen, stay with me. Let's go left turn signals, and we'll head back towards the building. Doing a great job out there. Go ahead and leave your videos recording. And once we get to a stop, I'll remind you to press stop recording on those PDRs of the videos. And then, unfortunately, it's going to be the last time we're in these vehicles, right? We're still going to head over and do autocross, but that's going to be in those Cadillac CT4 black wings. So, as we hop out of these cars after we park them by the building, let's make sure we're getting all of our personal belongings, phone, wallet, keys. Let's make sure we're leaving our key fobs behind, please. We're going to need those. And then, don't forget, after you stop your recording, don't forget to grab your SD card, alright? That's going to be yours to keep, so hang on to that. And again, we'll head inside, gentlemen. Meet up in the classroom. You guys can grab a drink, hit the restroom, and then we'll meet up in the class. A quick little video here, and then we'll get into autocross. Semifinals, finals, and then hot laps. And again, great job out there on the track, gentlemen. Fun session. does look clear, so just follow me through. And we'll just go ahead and pull right back into line. Alright, gentlemen, once you get to a stop, put on the brake, into park. Again, you can reach over, press stop recording on your PDRs, roll down your windows, and then you guys are good to go ahead and shut them down, alright? Make sure you get your SD cards, all your stuff, and we'll meet up in the classroom.